Starting right now, The Rita Panahi Show.
Good evening and welcome to the Rita Panahi Show. Coming up tonight, Anthony Albanese and senior government ministers stop claiming that their policies are tanking the property market. They now claim that tanking the market is a good thing. My panel will join me to discuss the day's top headlines. Ralph Scholhammer joins the program and I'll get his take on the rise of right-wing parties across Europe. Stella Escobedo will have the latest from the US, including details of Iran's assassination plot against President Trump. And singer Lizzo is celebrating Fat Liberation Month. Michael Loftus will have all your entertainment and royal news. And Lefty is Losing It features a trans activist seeking to educate children about sex change operations. But first, activists are distributing an 8-page anti-capitalist student guide outside inner Sydney high schools ahead of a planned strike against Pauline Hanson. It is called the High School Anti-Capitalist Toolkit and gives students instructions on how to recruit classmates, get out of class, and how to build an anti-Hanson socialist activist network at your school. It describes the One Nation leader as a die-hard racist platform by the mainstream media, but the document extends beyond One Nation. It calls on activists to tear down the entire despotic system of capitalism, root and branch. It also tells students to build a socialist organisation within school and establish a network of agitators and organisers. Let's bring in the panel. Former Labor MP Michael Danby and PR Council Managing Director Christy McSweeney. Michael, the left using brainwashed children, that's not something new. They like the kids to do their bidding. There's a lot of advantages to that.
Well, the same tactic as the DSA is using in America and the same far left tactics in Europe. You know, these hardcore Marxists have always been trying to get younger people at universities and in schools because they figure they have less life experience that would teach them that the sort of Marxist solutions are non sequiturs, they just don't work. And the most important thing is it takes idealism of young people and expends it for no purpose at all. If they were to become social democrats and join the Labor Party and try and work on social reform in Australia, that would be a valuable use of their time. But this is a complete blind alley for young people. They shouldn't go down it. That's something I learned at university and fought against the whole time since, but they seem to have a lot of resonance now. But Socialist Alternative is a very evil force and it's having an effect with these school strikes and mobilisations.
Yeah, and it's exactly the same people at every protest, whether it's climate change, whether it's anti-Israel, whether it is the BLM marches. They seem to have forgotten about those ones, anti-Australia Day rallies. It's the same crowd, it's the same anti-West sentiment. And it is clever to use children, because I remember with Greta Thunberg, for example, before she was an adult, you couldn't criticise her. You couldn't criticise her ideas because you were attacking a child. So getting a child to fight your battles does come with some advantages.
Well, it comes with advantages because, as Michael mentioned, these activist groups, they do target people who are just below the voting age. They see it as a progression, and many of these people lobby for laws we see change the voting age to 16 every so often, and they utilise social media, and that's why they don't like changes to the social media ban, because it destabilises their system of indoctrinating children. And to encourage people, kids, to wear their school uniform and protest, joining socialist activism is actually so wrong that the New South Wales Education Department should have something to say about this. But unfortunately, Rita, Michael, as we know, many teachers in public schools probably agree with this.
Absolutely. They are on board, many of them. Certainly the teachers' unions are. They're a massive part of the problem. And for many of them, they don't see this as indoctrination. They see this as part of their job. It's social justice. They see this as teaching critical thinking when it's precisely the opposite.
And Rita, we've seen that Armstrong and Lees, the guy who organised the demo on the bridge and all of the demonstrations in Sydney, both of them are in their 40s or 50s. So they're
The organisers are middle-aged.
specialists exploiting young people.
They're old school commies, Michael.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Socialist alternative. Well,
Yes.
Trotskyites, Marxists, who knows?
Socialists,
They can't give up.
Marxists, communists, they're all cut from the same cloth. Now, the RBA has kept the cash rate steady, as we mentioned yesterday, 4.35%, but RBA Governor Michelle Bullock has warned that inflation risks were skewed to the upside, making another hike possible. Experts warn we may not see any rate relief until next year, and some households are going to be pushed to breaking point. Michael, when you look at the costs that households are absorbing for those who are paying a mortgage, an average home loan size in this country is $734,000. The increase in interest rates means this year they're paying $370 a month more in monthly repayments. That is an enormous sum for people to be able to pay on an ongoing basis and keep their heads above water.
Well, the Treasurer and the Prime Minister are hoping that Michelle Bullock will deliver next year, because if she doesn't, the timings of all of their activities will be very... That's why the Royal Commission is closing in December, so it doesn't interfere with the election. So you've got to get the interest rates down next year, even if they go up this year. And that's why you give people all this pain with the loss of their house price values. They want to hope that a lot of people between now and then don't have to sell their houses for their capital value, because people will get a lot less and people will be very dirty on that. So it's basically not a Keating, Walsh government. It's an old-fashioned socialist government of the kind Gough Whitlam was, and we know where he ended up.
Look, I've always said the Albanese government from the first term is ideologically hard left. This is no moderate party. Now, the RBA governor has also said she was surprised by the speed and extent of the property market downturn, Christy.
The governor has used very diplomatic language. We know, we've seen in years past, there's been a particular tussle with the governor of the Reserve Bank and the Treasurer, and she doesn't want to repeat that situation that befell Philip Lowe and other people. It's not a surprise that people are fearful about the post-budget changes, and that is feeding into consumer behaviour, buyer behaviour. We've seen the CBA say their home loan applications is down 15% since the budget. People are scared. They are scared if they have shares. They are scared if they own property. They're scared if they're renting, that their rent is going to go up. So it's hitting all parts of the community. Auction clearance rates are down just because this budget has evoked significant fear out there, and we're starting to see it come to fruition.
Well, fear on solid grounds. I don't think these fears are unreasonable given the impact they're going to have on the housing sector going forward. And Labor are employing a new strategy when it comes to this issue. Instead of denying that their policies are tanking the housing market, and that makes millions of Australians worse off financially, they're now admitting that the tax hikes are causing a harsh downturn in the property market, but apparently that's a good thing. As Jeff Chambers notes in the Australian newspaper today, Anthony Albanese has given Labor ministers a green light to be honest about how the budget inflicted a sledgehammer on the property market. Michael, what do you think of this new strategy? It may be great news for first home buyers, but for millions of Australians, it's terrible news. Their biggest asset has diminished in value. Their mortgage hasn't diminished in value, but their asset that they may have been paying off for years is now worth considerably less depending on where they live.
So not only do we have a Prime Minister, Benny Hill, with his sexist remarks about foreign female leaders, but he reminds me, there's actually a great Jewish comedian called Jackie Mason who has this exact strategy that he's just done. He says, well, we weren't involved with it at all. Oh, but we're 100% involved with it. You know, so it's almost like a joke. You can't believe that someone would seriously say this. People are not going to be happy with the continuing diminution of their prime asset, which is their home values. And for now to say, oh, we did it deliberately, when you first said it, we didn't do it at all.
No.
I mean, people are not fools. Does he think that we don't remember what they say from day to day?
I think he's
the Ministry of
hoping
Truth
for mass amnesia in the Australian community.
The Ministry of
We've
Truth,
had the Prime Minister and his senior ministers repeatedly saying, oh no, as Treasury has said, this isn't going to see prices go backwards. They're just going to increase at a more sensible, slower pace. When that is not what is happening. And now, before you go, I want to play you this clip. It was census night last night, and I do wonder if the campaign by the left to have everyone tick no religion, we saw the likes of Jane Caro and Andrew Denton leading that campaign, whether that had an impact. It certainly didn't have an impact on this next prominent Australian. This is Australia's former Deputy Chief Medical Officer, Dr Nick Coatsworth.
Well, it's census night, folks, and apparently there's a few videos doing the rounds of people encouraging us to tick no religion. Now, I just wanted to thank Andrew Denton and Jane Caro and all those other interfering people who think they can tell me what to write in my own census, because I reckon the last time I did this, I ticked no religion, and because of them, I'm going to tick a religion. You see, I went to a Uniting Church school and I got married in an Anglican cathedral, and I love a mean-sung Eucharist. And so I've been inspired by those Australians encouraging us to tick no religion. I've ticked religion.
Christy, I'll confess I did the same. I didn't pick, I said other. I put myself in the other category.
Okay.
Because I don't want these left-wing agitators and their little plots succeeding. Well, what was behind that entire... Well, I know what was behind it, but what are your thoughts on it?
Oh, people just want to believe Australia is an agnostic country and the values
Godless,
of Christianity
atheist.
Don't matter. Look, I'm baptised Anglican. I went to a Catholic school. The guilt, it's indoctrinated into me. The cold, hard look of Sister Anne got to me last night, and I wrote Christian in the, tick the box. So that's me. I encourage more Australians who are Christians, I hope they did.
And Michael, just quickly, there was no Jewish category. You had to pick other and write Jewish for that one.
That's right. And as Peter Credlin pointed out last night, no religion actually scored less in the last census than Christianity. So I don't know why it goes first, because that is an automatic bias towards people filling out no religion. They want this, the Guardian, ABC, Jane Caro crowd, because eventually they want to cut out tax relief to churches and to Christian schools.
Yes.
Michael Danby, Christy McSweeney, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Joining me now is broadcaster, columnist and international relations expert, Ralph Scholhammer. Ralph, you are an academic also, and there is a lot happening in academia right now. Let's have a look at what has happened with a character called Jason Arday, who has resigned as a Cambridge professor in the wake of allegations of plagiarism and outlandish claims about his achievements and history. He claimed that he was non-verbal until the age of 11, unable to read or write until 18 years of age, and he claimed he ran a marathon every day for a week, ran 600 miles in 6 days. Tell me more about this story, Ralph.
I mean, you know the famous saying that if a story is too good to be true, it probably is. And this reminded me of another story from a couple of years ago where there was a guy from Zimbabwe who claimed that he has developed a machine that creates indefinite amounts of electricity from a TV, and that he invented a crosswalk where by the simple vibration of people walking, he can also create energy indefinitely. And he got like prizes in Germany and everywhere else until somebody said, so can we see the prototype? And it turned, of course, out there never was a prototype because everything that the guy said that he can do was completely impossible. And that's a similar story. There's a tendency, especially in academia, right, that everything that supports your preconceived notion, like these wonderful stories that are just too good to be true. They want to believe them. They don't ask if they should believe them, if they're true. They say, can I believe it? And yes, I can. And of course, I think at some point it always turns out to be fake.
We've got examples right here in this country, but I won't go into those. Right here at Melbourne, in fact. Now, another scandal at Cambridge with the Spectator reporting that Farah Ahmed, a former supporter of Hizbut Tahrir, that's a terrorist group, has been appointed as an assistant research professor of education at Cambridge. This is the same faculty that had Jason Arday working there. Let's look at this character's form. The Spectator reports Farah Ahmed has explicitly attacked Western education as a threat to Muslims, condemned democracy and integration, and criticised British schools for teaching pupils that child marriage is wrong. During a time at Cambridge, she has written that the Islamic concept of education is sharply opposed to, and I quote, gaining literacy and numeracy and other disciplinary skills demonstrated through qualifications. Ralph, Cambridge is supposed to be one of the finest learning institutions anywhere in the world. What is going on there?
Now, this, like the Jason Arday story, is a funny one. The other one that you just mentioned, that's a more dangerous one. Contrary to popular belief, universities are not neutral institutions of learning. Like in the past, very often they started out as religious institutions. Then in the 1920s and 1930s, they were nationalist patriotic institutions. And the modern university is a hotbed of anti-Western, anti-patriotic sentiment. This is why you have people like this lady all of a sudden rising through the ranks. And this is just one example. I mean, take the United States, the parents of Zohar Mamdani, for example, Edward Said, right? Pretty much everything that is being taught at modern Western universities is anti-Western ideology. So we have this particularly in the social sciences, right? I think the natural sciences are somewhat different, but even there are plenty of stories about whether math is racist or that 3 times 3 equals 9 is some form of white privilege. So this is a very, very dangerous tendency because simultaneously, we still have this idea that we have to send as many people as possible to the universities and to college. So you have an institution that teaches hatred of your own civilization, and at the same time we say we have to send as many people as possible to those institutions. So this is a key part, I would say, of the civilizational weakness of the West, is what's happening at the universities. And this is just a symptom and example of it.
Now, staying in the UK, how do you see the changing political landscape there? They have a new Prime Minister, and Nigel Farage has a by-election tomorrow, and it's an extraordinary by-election. There's a record number of candidates, 34 running, including Count Binface. Yes, that's his name, Count Binface, who is expected to do very well. There he is. Other notable candidates include actor-turned-commentator Lawrence Fox and Piers Corbyn, Jeremy Corbyn's brother. How do you see this race, Ralph?
Well, again, there's an entertaining element to it, but I believe a couple of almost decades ago, the first time Nigel Farage ran, and I think he lost, it was also some Count Monsterface or something, so it was another more entertaining candidate. So this is not something new. But I have to tip my hat to the people of the Commonwealth, like including Australia. I would never have thought that the revolution of the commons, let's call it, would begin in the English-speaking world. You see it in Ireland, you see it in the UK with Farage and also with Restore. I mean, these are political systems where change is notoriously difficult. So however this by-election is going to end, the simple fact that Reform is still number one in the polls, it's 23%, it's not an absolute majority, but I think this is quite remarkable. The people in the West are sensing that we are going in the wrong direction, and slowly but surely they're voting for change. And you see the same in polls in Australia, by the way. So this is not an entirely European phenomenon.
No, and we have seen that rise in South America. We've seen it in North America with Trump. It's certainly evident in Europe. We've seen the rise of centre-right parties from Italy to Sweden. And according to the polls, we're going to see the electorate turn further right in countries like Austria, Germany, France, the UK. This is something that the ruling elite do not like or understand, do they, Ralph? They're blaming everything and everybody, including Elon Musk and his X platform.
Well, it goes back to what we mentioned before about Cambridge University, right? You have an educated class, you have an educated elite that has been taught and marinated in this anti-patriotic, anti-Western civilization sentiment. But of course, the majority of the people, this is like the paradox of the majority. Most people still think like you and I, Rita, right? You know, they like the traditions, they like the civilizations, they like the customs. It is just that the institutions from where the people that staff the media, the universities, the cultural institutions, you know, that make the movies for Netflix, they have a different position. So the point is, it is not so much that people turn to the right, it is actually that people are reinforcing what they conceive to be normal. I think this is, again, the biggest gaslighting. And this is what Elon Musk said in this interview with The Economist. This is not about being far right. This is about holding positions that like 5 minutes ago were considered to be completely normal. Never forget, saying that there aren't 72 different genders already makes you far right. Saying that, you know what, yes, I think patriotism is a good thing. I think waving the flag of the country you live in, the country of which you have a passport, is a good thing. All of these things make you far right, and they were completely common. They were completely normal just a couple of years ago. So whenever you hear far right, there's a 90% chance what it actually means for the common person is normal.
Ralph, yep, we are seeing that in Germany as well. The AfD is increasing its support base amongst Germans at the same time that there are renewed efforts to ban them. Tell me about that.
I mean, this is as dangerous as it can get. So the AfD is currently polling at 30%. In the former territories of Eastern Germany, they're close to 42, 45%. So they are the strongest party in the polls, and they are the strongest opposition party. So trying to ban the one, and it's funny because the name fits, to ban the one alternative for the German electorate is not just an attack on democracy. It is also a complete misunderstanding about how it functions. I mean, imagine yourself, Rita, in a situation that you and another 30% of Australians have a party they want to vote for because they see them as the one party being capable of turning the ship around. Then the state steps in and bans that party. Will you throw up your hands and say, oh, well, what can I do? I'm going to go back to the legacy parties. Or will you say, if the system, if the state does not allow me to effect change within the system, then I'm going to turn to parties that want to abandon the system altogether. So the true radicals is not the AfD. The true radicals will come into existence if you ban the AfD. And it's so frustrating because the very people that constantly tell us, you have to learn from history, apparently have learned nothing from history. Like the idea that 30% of the people will simply accept that the party they prefer is being banned, and then they will vote again for the very parties that banned the party they wanted to vote for in the first place, is such madness. It's so insane. It's a stupidity only legacy media and legacy politicians are capable of.
Absolutely. Destroying democracy to save it. It really is quite mad. Ralph Scholhammer, it's always a pleasure. Thanks for your time tonight.
Thanks for having me, Rita.
Still to come, lefties losing it, plus the latest from the US, including details of Iran's assassination plot against President Donald Trump. Stella Escobedo is next. You're watching the Rita Panahi Show, and it's time for Lefties Losing It. And good news today with this Democrat dude defeated.
That's the SS and the Gestapo. This is the United States of America.
That was Democrat Congressman John Larson, who lost his re-election bid today. He's been in the House of Reps since January 1999. He should have retired years ago, perhaps when this happened.
Who control both the House and Senate is going to speak up and challenge us.
Yep. Let's hear now from trans activist Lily Tino, dressed like a chef with a cartoon rat on his shoulder, educating children about sex change operations. You know, that is quite enough. Enough. Leave that content For your adult audience, leave the kids alone. Now, we have learnt of another assassination plot against President Trump by the Iranian regime while the president was in Turkey last month, forcing the Secret Service to take extraordinary measures to protect him. CBS reporting that shortly before Air Force One took off from Turkey at the end of last month's NATO summit, President Trump secretly slipped away from the presidential jet, publicly boarded the older Air Force One as a decoy, and he then slipped out the far side of the plane into a catering truck, which whisked him away to another plane for a secret departure. These are the measures that he needs to take to stay safe after multiple assassination attempts and plots. But all of this was hilarious, mirthful to the imbecilic hosts of MSNBC, or whatever it's called these days. Listen to the joy from professional liars Rachel Maddow and Lawrence O'Donnell.
Now I'm very pleased to say it's time for the last word with Lawrence O'Donnell, which is more of a pleasure for me to say than usual because the New York Times has just posted a headline on the front page of the New York Times website, which reads, "Trump hid in a catering container to sneak out of Turkey." And honestly, that news has just broken. Trump hiding in a catering cart. And the thing I want most in the world upon hearing that news is to hear Lawrence O'Donnell explain it to me. And God bless you, Lawrence. Please tell me that you will.
It is issue number one in this hour of coverage. We're going to be relying on the Washington Post.
Just disgusting. These are the same hacks who push the Russian collusion hoax every night for years, the same propagandists who have done so much damage in undermining democracy in the eyes of their sad little audiences. They are positively giddy that the American president's life was in peril and such measures needed to be employed. Apparently, it's Donald Trump's fault that leftists and Islamists want to kill him.
It's one of the many examples of how Donald Trump has lost control. He didn't just lose control of which version of Air Force One he got to use. He lost complete control in this story.
And then we were treated to Lawrence's pathetic opening monologue, which was 90% just reading out directly from the Washington Post. And despite being giddy about the president facing another credible threat, he was also outraged. Not at the Iranians wanting to assassinate the US president, no. He was outraged at Donald Trump for supposedly losing control.
As the president has said recently, there are many enemies of America who have their sights on him, and we use every tool at our disposal to address those threats. There are many, many ways for Donald Trump to experience just how much control he does not have.
You know what? Let's have a look at a man losing control, losing his grip on reality and obsessing about the hammering. Here is Lawrence O'Donnell in a clip I prepared earlier.
Stop the hammering. Stop the hammering out there. Who's got a hammer? Where is it?
I don't know.
Where's the hammer?
It's on a different...
Is it on the... Go up on the other floor. Somebody go up there and stop the hammering. Stop the hammering. I'll go down to the floor myself and stop it. Keep the commercial break going. Call Phil Griffin. I don't care who the you have to call. Stop the hammering. Empty out the control room and find out where this is going on. It's either there or out there somewhere.
Sorry. It's one of the all-time great lefties losing it clips. I love it so much. Let's bring in Emmy award-winning journalist and host of Stella News, Stella Escobedo. Stella, the joy that those MS Now hosts had in reporting of this serious issue just showcases again that the left has a problem with violence. They have a problem with morality. I don't care if you like the president, hate the president, to be giddy about a credible threat against his life is sick to me.
It's disgusting. In the video that you just played, it shows the true face of the angry liberals. These people are so excited every time they hear there is another attack on the president. And you know what? This kind of inflamed rhetoric is the reason why we have crazy people in America. Forget about the Islamic Republic of Iran. We know why they hate America. But you have crazy people inside America who want to kill the president. We've had several instances, obviously, starting with Butler and then attacks on Mar-a-Lago. But when you vilify a president or when you vilify anything and you say it is worth killing, who cares? That's why these people don't care that he was maybe about to be assassinated. But also, tell me you hate America without telling me you hate America. To your point, Rita, it doesn't matter what you think about the president. He is the president of the United States of America, the same country that you live in. Disgusting.
Absolutely disgusting. Now, the president was asked about this incident that occurred last month. Let's see what he had to say.
Were you aware of any credible threat by Iran against your
I have a threat all the time. I'm number one on their list.
Stella, how worried is the administration about Iran's attempts to assassinate the president? We know the midterms are approaching, and that means President Trump will be at rallies, in large crowds, outdoors. The risk is going to be elevated.
At 100%, the risk has been elevated. That's why they take the precautions that they do. That's why they took the precautions that they did in Turkey. And now our mainstream media is so outraged. Did you hear about the fact that reporters who were left on the Air Force One, which, by the way, has, defense military equipment on that plane and had fighter jets, they're upset that they stayed on the plane. But the CIA, Secret Service, everyone is doing their job. I mean, look, the president obviously can't go on stage now without, a glass partition. Look at what happened at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. I mean, they have to I've been to the White House several times, even as a journalist. I go through multiple levels of security. And I always say, literally, you walk in, you go through Secret Service, then you go through Secret Service, then you go through more Secret Service. And I'm not kidding you, with dogs. I mean, anytime the president is, around, the security level is heightened, and it's changed. It's become more and more heightened.
Absolutely. Now, President Trump and the White House have posted this earlier today. This announcement today, at my direction, Dr. Mehmet Oz announced that Medicaid will no longer be funding gender transition surgeries and hormones for minors. Goes on to say, just think about all of the young, innocent and perhaps confused children who will be spared. Stella, this is going to be enormously popular, I would say, not just with Republicans, but independent voters, pretty much everybody other than the hard left.
I mean, I can't even believe that we're here and the president of the United States had to do that. So thank you, President Trump. There have been families fighting for this for years because this is abuse. This is barbaric. You have these parents who are equally sick in the head, who are going to these doctors who are equally sick in the head, who want to transition their kids, who want to cut off their breasts. I've interviewed, people who have gone through transitions, who've cut off their breasts, and then now, they're in their 20s and they're like, what? I don't understand how adults told me this was okay. In California, where I live, President Trump already cut off federal funding to the hospitals. And you have the Attorney General of California, Rob Bonta, instead of focusing on other issues that we have in California, he's suing the Trump administration because they can't do gender affirming care on children.
Well, what about those blue states and cities that allow this? You could argue some of them encourage it. How are they going to react? And will those who want to transition their children, put them on this medical path, just move to a different jurisdiction?
I mean, they could do that. It's a lot more work for parents to get up and leave. Oftentimes, the instances and situations I've seen, it's when, parents have split up and one parent is cuckoo and wants to transition their child. And then there's this like legal battle that's happening. So I don't know if this is a federal law and these hospitals are also not going to get federal funding. I think it's going to be harder and harder for them to do gender affirming care. So thank you again, President Trump. I mean, Rita, how did we get here? I mean, this is insane. My 5-year-old thinks she's a mermaid. Should I be like letting her sleep in the bathtub all day?
Well, yeah, some would argue you should, because that's her identity. You've got to affirm it. You can't challenge it. And you're right. I've also spoken to a number of detransitioners, and one of them from California, Chloe Cole. They butchered that poor girl. She was a confused girl, and she was set down this path of medicalised interventions, double mastectomy, and she's got lifelong consequences. I think they did that to her when she was 15, 16, and she was detransitioning as a teenager. I think she was 18, 19, where she said, this is crazy. And the attacks that girl has endured for just talking about her own story to try to warn others, it just tells you how crazy the ideologues are in this space. Now, to
your point, I've interviewed Chloe Cole myself, and she is so brave. She's used her voice, in this important movement. But just to add to this, the left encourages this. They're sick. They're all into this gender ideology. They want you transition. They want you chopping off your breasts, not having children. America is facing a huge issue right now. Birth rates are down because they've been promoting this kind of ideology.
Well, yeah, together with climate alarmism that the world's going to end in 80 years, 5 years, 6 years, depending on the doomsday that you're listening to. Now let's talk about this report in the New York Post. They're reporting that Mayor Zoran Mamdani's wife, Rama, is heading to Syria and Lebanon next month, jetting off on September 20 to countries on the State Department's do not travel list for Americans. That seems rather unwise, Stella.
I mean, yeah, tell me who Rama Dawaji is. It's like, first of all, Rama Dawaji for America's 250th jetted off to some island in France, Corsica, I think it was, which is hard to even get to, but she's like, see you later. She wasn't even, I'm hearing that she's not going to be there for 9/11. She is requesting, NYPD officers or some kind of security that's tax funded, which I think has already been denied. First of all, your hubby is anti-police. So therefore you don't get security. You want to go to a level 4 elevated, security alert country? Goodbye, go on your own.
Absolutely. And there's been an update on that today. Earlier today, Mayor Zoran Mamdani blamed a miscommunication over this public clash that happened between City Hall and NYPD officials over whether they were going to be providing security for his wife during this Middle East trip. Stella, she will not receive police protection overseas, despite Mamdani's senior spokesperson saying that she would just yesterday. So a little bit shambolic there in New York. Before you go, you did mention Rob Bonta before. He's the California Attorney General, and he's sabotaging a key voter ID initiative. Tell me about this.
Yeah, actually, I just reported that. I just interviewed the Republican who's running for California Attorney General. So basically, in California, whenever they're afraid of something, there's always some kind of government overreach. So what he did was, there's a voter ID that is supposed to be on the ballot, okay, in November. They got enough signatures, over 1 million signatures, to put it on the ballot. There was, more than $1 million that was spent on getting, the enough signatures, whatever. So right as they get it approved, Rob Bonta goes and changes the language of it. Basically, it was just a voter ID that says you need ID to show up. Now he changed it. I don't remember off the top of my head, but basically he changed it to something that is a scare tactic about like legal immigrants. And so if you're just a regular everyday voter, you're like, oh my gosh, what is this voter ID thing? So per usual, these Democrats, anytime, like, why else would you change that if you were scared that it would pass? Because the people of California would like voter ID.
Absolutely. This is an 80-20 issue. Even the majority of Democrats, the majority of black voters, and often they're the ones who are used by the left to say, well, if you bring in voter ID, you're going to disadvantage black voters as if they're too dumb or poor to get ID. I mean, it is such a insulting, racist position to hold. And yet the Democrats will die on this hill, Stella. They know how popular voter ID is. They know how popular election integrity issues are, and they don't want it. And you've got to ask yourself, why? Why would you die on this hill?
Because they've imported so many people into this country. And why would you not want people to use their IDs if everything is okay? In the state of California, if you're a first-time voter, all you need is a gym membership. Wrap your brain around that. And this is what President Trump talks about, the Save America Act. He says, why do you not want the Save America Act passed? We use IDs for everything. You use IDs to go buy alcohol. You use an ID to go on a plane. I mean, Mondami is talking about his communist grocery stores, and he says, you're going to need an ID, but you don't need an ID to vote? Why?
Exactly. Stella Escobedo, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Still to come, singer Lizzo is celebrating Fat Liberation Month. Michael Loftus will have all your entertainment and royal news next.
This hotel's great.
Yeah, and only $385 a night.
What? I got it for $270. You didn't check Trivago?
You gotta check Trivago.
Check Trivago to compare prices and save up to 30%. Hotel Trivago.
This is Jules, and this is Jules didn't think she could love the Topster any more than she already does.
How can I love you any more, T1
Until she got everyday pet insurance from Woolworths, protection for T-Boy and 10% off a Woolworths shop every month. So she saves hundreds a year on groceries. It's pet insurance
that loves you back.
Make your insurance more rewarding. Make every day count.
The luscious pink or the ruby red?
Definitely the ruby red.
Not too much?
Are you kidding? You look glam, girl.
Getting this extra care from right at home was right for you, wasn't it, Mum?
Oh, there he is. Gotta go, darling.
You look amazing, Dawn.
Oh, it's nothing, Barry. You just need the right support and right at home.
Spotlight's over $30 million clearance sale is on now. Winter blankets from $15, electric blankets from $50, curtains and blinds from $20, cushions from $10, plus apparel fabric from $4 a metre. Hurry while stocks last. At Spotlight, it's what you make it.
Harris Scarf Friends exclusive mega sale is on now. Save 50% off full price quilts and pillows and 60% off full price electric blankets. Hurry, sale ends soon. Exclusions apply. See conditions online. Harris Scarf, great brands, great prices.
With a regular mop and bucket, you're just pushing dirty water around, leaving streaks and slippery wet floors. Hi, James Cheney here with the Crap-Off FX5 floor washer, the quiet, cordless, 2-in-1 cleaner that soaks up spills, washes away dirt and grime and leaves your floors sparkling clean and ready to walk on in under 30 seconds. Cordless, lightweight and easy to use, it tackles dirt, soaks up wet messes at the push of a button and lifts sticky spills fast, leaving your floors sparkling, spotless and dry. Easily clean edge to edge on hardwood, tiles, lino, laminate and more. Scan the QR code now, get 10% off the FX5 floor washer today, plus free postage anywhere in Australia and an extended warranty, a 60-day money-back guarantee and more. Scan now or get to cleverrange.com.au and don't miss out.
At Coles, feed the family great value dinners with delicious Aussie mints. From tacos to bolognese, use Coles Australian no added hormones regular beef mince 500 gram. Now just $6 per pack, save $3. Get a great deal on mints at Coles.
Welcome back. Now, singer Lizzo has celebrated Fat Liberation Month with this post wearing a sparkly purple two-piece from her Yitty swim line. In the caption, she wrote, "Calling all my ladies over 200, go outside and pop something." Joining me now is a comedian and host of the Loftus Party podcast, Michael Loftus. Michael, Lizzo has spoken recently about putting 20 pounds back on. She said that was a intentional decision. What do you make of this Fat Liberation Month? I didn't even know that was a thing.
Nor did I. I just found out about Fat Liberation Month. And you're probably wondering, well, how long does this thing go? Fat Liberation Month, it starts out strong and then it kind of gives up and gets a snack and sits down. Lizzo, if you look, Lizzo beat Ozempic. I think the Ozempic tapped out and Lizzo's like, I'm just going to put the weight back on. Look at that. She's proud. God bless her. It's like
she's
somebody tried to gift wrap. I'm sorry?
Well, she said to go out there and pop something, and I'm saying she's popping something right there. That gives you an illustration of what to do.
It's like somebody tried to gift wrap a sofa with a handkerchief. I think what's popping is the strings on that bikini as they give up.
Now, all this talk about Ozempic and obesity got me thinking about this clip. If you ever thought Oprah was a serious person, then perhaps you didn't see this.
You don't overeat and become obese. Right. Obesity causes you to overeat. Right. Obesity causes you to have all of that food noise.
There you go. That was from earlier this year, Michael. That's obesity is caused not by you overeating, but you're overeating because you're obese. Get your head around that logic.
You get an excuse. You get an excuse. Everybody gets an excuse. I'm not fat because I overeat. I overeat because I'm fat. Come on, everybody. Get with the 21st century.
That is a great excuse. You can apply that to pretty much anything and say, I'm not drunk because I drink too much. I drink too much alcohol because I'm drunk. There you go. This is going to... This is going to help people in a lot of ways. Now, it's been confirmed that Democrat Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has broken up with her fiancé, Riley Roberts. It's not quite clear how long they've been apart. There are reports they haven't been together for 2 years. I don't know how she kept this quiet. They announced their engagement in May 2022. Michael, this could explain why AOC was posting very publicly about freezing her eggs earlier this week.
Yeah, she was very, very vocal about that. Like we get it. You didn't want to have a baby with this guy. Big chubby Ron Weasley doesn't get it done for you. So now AOC is this guy, that poor guy. He's like a marshmallow man. He looks like a human being, like somebody kicked a marshmallow around a barber shop floor and picked it up and put it on a body. So anyway, we all know that AOC is going to end up with Elon Musk. That's what's going to happen here. The sparks were flying a couple years ago. Yes. And now his Tesla is going to get in her AOC and start some kind of super brainiac socialist baby.
That would be dangerous, but you know what? I would absolutely love that. And if she's got Elon by her side, she could become president. His $1 trillion plus her crazy politics, anything is possible. Now, Cristiano Ronaldo, let's stick with this wedding theme. He's finally tied the knot. He's been with his partner, Georgina Rodriguez, for 10 years. Finally, after 10 years, they got married in a civil ceremony in Portugal. They met at a Gucci store, Michael, as all good couples do. What do you make of this union? Is 10 years too long? I mean, there would be a lot of dating experts that I see online who say, if he hasn't put a ring on it and led you down the aisle within a couple of years, then move on. He's not that into you.
Yeah, that's a good rule of thumb. But then there's a little asterisk by it, like unless it's Ronaldo and he's worth all that money. then stick it out. She put in the 10 years. They've been together. When they say I do, I have to imagine she just screamed, "Goal!" for about 10 minutes. She landed the big
That would
fish.
be actually
Good
great.
for her. They're in love.
They're in love, and good luck to them. I like him, so I'm on board with that union. Now, UFC fighter Conor McGregor has ended his sobriety, probably lasted 5 to 6 minutes, and he said he's ending it in support of actor Brad Pitt. He said Pitt inspired him to start drinking again. Michael, this is very compassionate work from Conor McGregor because, you know, he's normally a teetotaler. We've never seen him drinking and partying too much.
Yeah, and my thoughts and prayers go out to the people of Ireland who are already suffering enough. But now to know that Conor McGregor is running around drunk again, this must be how the Japanese feel every time Godzilla gets spotted. How do you stop a drunk Conor McGregor? You can't. Like, if Brad Pitt gets drunk, you just put up a mirror and he falls in love with himself and everybody's safe. But Conor McGregor, he's going to fight back and he's going to win. You just have to wait for him to tire himself out. So thoughts and prayers going out to the people of Ireland. Stay safe, stay indoors, don't run out of booze.
Well, they've had to deal with Rosie O'Donnell moving to their fair country, but she seems to be back in the US permanently these days. I don't know what's happened to her pledge not to be in America whilst Donald Trump is president, because she's spending a lot of time in the States. Now, we spoke yesterday about Anne Hathaway showing off her baby bump on the red carpet. The outfit caused a lot of discussion, but there's still a lot of conjecture about whether this pregnancy is fake. This is crazy. Listen to this.
So Anne Hathaway has come out with her baby bump, which, sorry, gotta say, it is fake. I'm just gonna call it right here and right now. This bump is fake. That belly button is 100% fake. That bump is fake, as a special effects makeup artist who actually has worn a fake belly herself. I can tell you that that belly was fake.
Michael, look, I've got to say, I don't think the belly is fake, but I had a look at the comments online and most seem to think it's fake. They're doubting Anne. Why is that? Has she got a history of telling fibs? What's this about?
Well, she is an actress. She gets paid a lot of money to make believe. But that belly button, that was so disturbingly real.
Weird.
You just want to poke on that and go back to bed, baby. That's a very real pregnant woman. Congratulations, Anne Hathaway. You're beautiful, but cover up that belly button. It's disturbing.
Well, that's why I think it's definitely real, because if you were going to do a fake belly, you would make it look more conventional. The fact that it does look a little bit different, I think, is proof that it's real. I am a believer in Anne. Well done, Anne. Michael Loftus, always a pleasure. Thank you for your time tonight. And that's it from me. Don't go anywhere. Late Edition is up next. Good night.